So this is Lou Martin, and it's my joy and delight to get to chat with my new friend, Sera Magan. Yeah? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mia. Yes. I have to remember Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia. That's my device. But so Mia is a bright light that was kind enough to come and interview me. We did some work together, and she read my ebook. So she's my new favorite interviewer. And so now I get to turn the tables on her today because she's fascinating and amazing, and I get to interview her this time rather than the other way around. So how are you? And glad to be here with you. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. I don't know if you can see, but the sun is streaming in the window here in the southwest of Ireland. It's an amazing day. Was able to have lunch outside. Very happy to be alive and here, and it's really good to be on the other side. It's kind of nice. It's interesting.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm so glad we could do it. And yes, it's you're lovely as usual, and there's a stunning view out the window. So this is Ireland with all its beauty and majesty laid before us. Yeah.
Yay. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, we connected because we're on this spiritual journey, each of us. So can you tell me a little bit about your spiritual journey and how that began for you and what's going on with that for you these days?
Okay. In the beginning, Okay. Way back when I was a little one, my first kind of remembering, or, of kind of, I suppose, esoteric thinking or that sort of thing was when I was about 4. I remember there was a built-in flower pot on our house, and I remember sitting there sort of wondering who I was and what I was doing here, and were these really my parents, and all this kind of,
How did this happen?
A sense of something much greater than me, and a sense of, there's some reason why I'm here, whatever that is. And I remember on days like this, lying on my back on the concrete and closing your eyes and, having beautiful colors in your third eye and the wonderment of all that sort of thing. And of course, I was brought up Catholic. I'm a typical Irish Catholic sort of background. And so I developed a great love of Jesus from the stories, just the stories that we were told in school and the stories at Mass, even though I found the structure of Mass very challenging. And I found how I was parented very challenging. So I decided I used to write my own prayers instead of the ones
Really?
that had been written by rote, or we learned by rote.
Right.
And I suppose I spent a lot of time I was determined to live this way that Jesus wanted us to live. So I would be going around trying to do what, like as a little girl, good deeds, like visiting old folks. And I used to go down to the church and just have chats with Jesus, or just sit there with my best friend who was really into this whole thing as well. So that was the beginning.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty auspicious. Yeah.
Teenage years then, and it all was, I remained true to my own beliefs, but I think there was a lot of challenges in my relationship with the church and with my parents, and conflicts with my emerging sexuality. And so that was it. That was a very trying period, which continued into my late 20s, I would say.
Right. So you had your good friend when you were growing up who was on the same wavelength as you. Were the two of you treated any differently? Were you considered to be the outcasts or the weird ones, or any of that?
I think me more so. I was definitely a bit of a weirdo in school. Now I suppose I didn't express too much of. I had a very close bond with my friend Anne, and I didn't. Outside of that, I didn't share my beliefs with too many other people.
Okay.
And in hindsight, a lot of, I suppose, a certain amount of it was like coming innately from self, but then there was a certain amount of it that was out of a kind of a must-do sort of Catholic guilt thing as well. So it was a kind of a mixture which has been predominant throughout my life, I think, when you've been sort of indoctrinated a little.
Sure.
Or a lot.
Yeah.
But I would have been, to this day, I think she is closer to the Catholic path than I have been.
Right. Did you let church go? Where are you at with all that?
I pretty much let it go. I'm very grateful for it. I'm very grateful for much of the way I was brought up. My parents were really true Christians. I mean, we had an absolute open house. We had foster children. We had, you know, young single mothers. We had all the, you know, Indian community as they were moving to Ireland, coming to our house. We had traveling community come into the house. My parents really lived it. Everybody was welcome. If you needed a place to stay, it was there. If you needed anything. Wow. And to this day, my dad has passed away, but I went into my mum's the other day, and, you know, in the hallway was a baby's cot, and my mum said, oh, that's for a Polish family. And then I went into the living room and there was loads of buggies, and she said, oh, I have children now, they're going for it. And then upstairs there was a pink piano, and she said, I'm looking for a child now to give that to.
Fantastic.
So that is who she is, and that is how I was reared, that right. You know, I suppose very much to be there for people, and that it's not just a responsibility, it's a duty. It's a real duty of care to others. Mm-hmm. So I was really brought up like that. And also, I suppose, I don't attend church unless I want to, unless there's something in particular. Right. My relationship with the divine is very much, you know, in every moment, in everything I do. Right. So I don't feel that need, but I get a bit of fun out of it as well, because you know, when I watched a movie with Clive the other night, and there was a kind of a Catholic undertone in it, and there was references to Catholicism. I get a great kick out of that, because I kind of see the funny side of a lot of it. Mm-hmm.
Was this Brooklyn by any chance?
No, I've seen Brooklyn though, but that kind of thing. When I would see Brooklyn, I would have both anger might rise in me for some of the stuff, and then joy might rise in me for other aspects of it. Does that make sense?
Sure, but I have to. Yeah, go ahead.
I wouldn't change a thing about my past.
Right. Well, that's good. That's very wise of you. You're extremely enlightened, my friend. But so, what's the anger about, and what's the joy about? I have to take the bait on that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The anger is about the fear-based aspects of the Catholic Church, and the idea that I might be judged or condemned for being who I am, just this, you know, vibrant, vivacious, sexual being, with all my appetites for life. Right. And that, I suppose, the judgments that have been there on women, and I suppose the bits of things that have been left out biblically, and I have a great fondness for Mary Magdalene, and I have, you know, I don't know exactly what I believe to be true, but I certainly have, my feeling is that it's a very different one than the one that was presented to me. Yeah. Yeah. And I've read bits and pieces here and there, and it's a kind of an eclectic mix of things, but I go with what my real deep sense of what is, you know, what was and what is. And so that would be, I suppose, my anger, anything that has been tainted or thwarted to suit the power of the church. Right. It's not an anger I carry with me really anymore, but I suppose, I can get triggered a little bit, but rarely. I kind of tend to see the bigger picture. My joy, I think there was so much goodness as well that was passed on to me. And so many beautiful stories. And I suppose most of it has come through my parents, but I love the rituals as well, and I love some services, and I'm getting more. I found that if I do go to Mass now, I'm hearing it in a whole new way. So I mean, the odd occasion, it might be like twice a year, but I remember listening to Muji saying that as you begin to awaken, all scripture, all word that has come from God is going to resonate in a very different way. It's going to sound different, and you're going to hear the truth.
Right.
And I've been very pleasantly surprised by that, by, going to Mass and hearing something so different and so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But anything that is forced upon you, for me, is that I would have, I'd be challenged by. So growing up in Ireland, I had to go to Mass every Sunday, and there was no question about it.
Right.
That didn't suit this one's personality. Maybe others as well, I don't know. But certainly I'm so glad that I was raised Catholic in many ways, because it was my introduction to spirituality, that there was more than me to think about, and it wasn't just me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, you've mentioned Muji. Can you tell people who don't know who Muji is, and maybe get into your yoga and your experiences in India and some of the alternative stuff that you've studied?
Okay. Well, Muji is an awakened master that lives in Portugal, and I believe Papaji was his teacher. I met him. I went to see him, not purposely, little miracle in India that I got to see him. And I just watch his videos on YouTube, really, but I find him a very gentle and beautiful and profound presence. I'm not a devotee, I suppose. I don't know my devotee of anything in particular, bar love.
That'll do.
But yeah, he certainly inspires me, let's put it that way. I would be very inspired by him.
Right.
My journey with yoga began relatively late in life. I'd been to a few yoga classes when I was younger, probably in my early 30s, and I wasn't able, for the stillness required between postures and even the being fully with myself. I wasn't in a place to do that, and I found it quite frustrating. And at Yoga Nidra, relaxation, oh my gosh, no, I just wasn't able to get present with myself. Yeah. So my journey came about, I was working in social care. Most of my work has been in various different areas of social care. And I was running a respite house. I was working in the area of addiction. I had been for a while.
Right.
And a friend came in and she showed me a poster of a course, and it was Thai yoga massage. And she said, would you like to do this course? And I looked, and there was a picture of beautiful vegetarian food in one corner. There was a picture of a really hot Greek guy in another corner. And there was a picture of, I think it was a Tibetan bowl or a gong or something. Anyway, this all looked, okay.
Yeah, look good. Yeah.
I had no idea where the money was going to come from, but it did. I think it was like 900 euro or something at the time. And anyway, it happened.
Great.
And I went on this course, and only to discover that I was the only person there who wasn't a masseuse and didn't practice yoga.
Oh.
I tell a lie. There was one other person who's now a very dear friend of mine.
All right.
So I was greatly challenged by a 5 a.m. wake up, very strong Ashtanga yoga practice.
Wow.
Meditation, chanting, and then being fully present to both my body and another person's body for the entire day. So much of my stuff started to come up.
Right.
So much. Good stuff and bad stuff.
Sure. Stuff.
Stuff. Yeah. So that was the beginning, and I completed the course. I never actually practiced as a Thai yoga masseuse practitioner, but I thoroughly enjoyed the course, and I thoroughly enjoyed getting into body work. And I decided, I want to have a yoga practice as well. So I started going to a teacher, and I was going to him about 8 weeks, and I was out for a walk one day in Glenstall Abbey. I don't know if you know it, but it's a very special place in County Limerick. Yeah. I was walking in the Abbey, and a voice told me that I was to be a yoga teacher. And I was like, really? And, you know, it was really clear you'd teach yoga. And I was thinking, oh, you're doing it 8 weeks. So I went to my yoga teacher and I said, look, I want to up my practice. I want to go a few times a week. And I'm going to start doing, there was a channel on TV called the Body and Balance, I think. So I spoke to my yoga teacher and I said, I want to be a teacher. And he said, you're only coming 8 weeks? Yeah. And I was like, I know. I said, but I'm supposed to be a teacher. And he said, well, you're going to have to come wait about 2 years. And I was like, no, I don't think so. He just laughed at me. So one morning I was doing this practice with the TV. I was getting up at 6 a.m. and this woman came on called Maya Fines, who teaches Kundalini Yoga. And I did the practice with her, and I literally was the only word I can use is stoned. At the end of the practice, I was sitting there and I was like, just, oh my God, what just happened? And this is just wow. And straight away I Googled Kundalini Yoga, and then I found out you could do it in Ireland, and there was, the closest place was Cork, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I would say within 2 or 3 weeks of that, I was signed up to start that January. And my Satyananda teacher, who I was going to, still laughs and tells the story, and he got a great kick out of the fact that I was like, I'm going to be a yoga teacher. And
right.
yeah, so then I started my Kundalini Yoga training and totally immersed myself in it. And it was incredibly profound, incredibly life-changing for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have words. All I can say is I really started to get my life back. And when I talk about back, I mean back from that 4 or 5-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Who was going, why am I here? What is all this about?
Yeah.
I started to connect in with that sort of that space of full potential.
Right. Well, you were working that's wonderful. I mean, I've had some Kundalini Yoga, you know, practice, and my own awakening was Kundalini awakening. And, you know, so you're working very deliberately with the chakras, with your breathing, with your body, and you're bringing a lot of light into yourself every day. And it helps to awaken who you really are as a spiritual being, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, anybody who hasn't, I suppose, practiced, I would say go to a certified teacher or a class. But it's not for everybody, but it was the one for me. And it's kind of blossoming now in Ireland. And it's a very, very special work. And they use a lot of chant, which really began to resonate with me as well. It was just sound and chant. And again, not for everybody, but certainly very special for me.
Yeah. Well, it opens you up deeply.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it gives you that beautiful focus, you know, unlike just meditation.
Yeah. And it just feels, that's all I can say is it feels really, really good.
Yeah. It's easier than Ashtanga too, which is nice as well. Yeah.
This is true. This is true.
I love the Ashtanga people. Yeah. Brilliant. So all right. So you're I know you've moved in and out of your yoga.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So do you want to talk a little bit about any of the other things, coaching or Landmark, or any of the things you're working on now? Or?
Okay. I moved in and out of the yoga, and I'm still, I suppose I would have a practice, but it's quite eclectic at the minute.
Okay.
I suppose the next thing for me on my journey after the Kundalini was probably A Course in Miracles. Mm-hmm. Again, it was something I'd hear about here and that I needed to look into it myself. There was nobody kind of invited me to do anything. It was just my own personal calling, I suppose, for it.
Yeah.
Watching little pieces of Marianne Williamson and other teachers, and so I engaged. I got the book and I started reading the book, and then I did some wonderful courses with a woman called Lisa Natoli, who's based in Portland, I think, in the United States.
Okay.
And I did some online courses with her. I began that work about 2 years ago.
Okay.
That turned my life upside down and inside out.
Right.
I stepped away from everything for a while, Lou, except for A Course in Miracles. But I stepped away from the yoga, and not because of A Course in Miracles, but because I think I hadn't learned how to be boundaried and how to manage my time. And I was very tired, and I needed to hibernate a bit, I think.
Sure.
So, or I believed I needed to hibernate. Whether that is the truth or not is another thing. But so I did step back from a lot of things. I also got quite involved. I had a tantric teacher called Bernie Pryor, and he does a thing called the form reality practice. So I learned quite a bit through him and through that practice, and I trained in that as well. I've trained in a few different modalities, Reiki and Lomi massage. That was another big part of my awakening journey. An amazing kahuna from Hawaii taught me. So yeah, I've had it's quite eclectic.
You've had the full
and
buffet.
That's me.
Yeah,
I've had the full buffet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's more to taste.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's just getting exciting, as we've said. And I'm a student of the course as well, and that's I think part of how we connected. And I found your videos from a couple years ago when you were taking your break from the yoga, and I was like, who is this woman? She's so confident, and she's so in touch with herself, and she's got such an open heart. I really would love to meet her. And I don't know if I said hi to you on Facebook. I think I might have, but anyway, at some point you came back to me. Maybe I didn't. I don't know, honestly. But we connected, and it was just like, really magical. And now you're, it's fair to say you're preparing to work as a teacher with coaching and being a little bit more direct one-on-one with people in groups rather than just doing the body part of it.
Yeah.
How do you want to say that?
That is fair. I'm still awaiting full divine guidance.
We all are. But, yeah, we're all waiting on that.
However, yes, this idea came, my partner and I was describing to him how I would like to work. And I wanted to have this place where people were really welcome to come and renew themselves. And I said, like a house. And I said, I just wanted to be warm, welcoming, open and loving and da-da-da. And he said, like a house of love. So then this name came about, the House of Love.
Right.
So I began using that on Facebook and on my website, and it's on some of the stuff up on YouTube. But the House of Love is essentially, I suppose you're the House of Love, I'm the House of Love. Wherever I go and spend time with people, that is the House of Love in action or on the move, let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. So there are lots of things unfolding, and one is the House of Love TV, which you were one of the first people to be interviewed for that. And hopefully that will be rolling out, I would imagine, towards the end of April now. And the other thing then is that we're opening up our home for people to come for a one-to-one, sort of an hour a day, what I'm calling me time. But it's where you can come down and you would spend time with a cup of tea, a chat, see where you're at in your life, and then kind of the day will be tailored for you. So it could be one-to-one yoga, it could be meditation, it could be a Reiki session, it could be a coaching session, but it's a day really dedicated to you. Nice vegetarian lunch, and then Clive would take them off for a walk down the beach and a chat about the area and just that connection with nature, because that's where he's really strong. Connection with nature.
Wonderful.
So that'll be open on a one-to-one basis or a 1-to-2 basis. but no more than 1 to 2. So a couple could come, or, you know, a woman and her sister or her best friend or that sort of thing, but it won't be more than 2. And then I'm going to continue my work with yoga, possibly 1 to 2 classes down here, but also private sessions. And just to say, I love working with people around the area of anxiety and tension and stress, and because I think it's something that we all feel in our lives, me included. But I have found tools and various things that work, and I get great joy in passing those on. And I believe that's very much part of what I am to do, is to teach people various different skills to help overcome anxiety.
Sure. Brilliant.
Tension.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the minute. And so the House of Love is open.
Great.
It's open. There's a new website on the way.
Very good.
It's all very exciting, and we're down here in the southwest of Ireland, in the most beautiful spot, 5 minutes from the beach.
Right.
Kind of wow.
County Kerry, the magical County Kerry.
Ooh, yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Well, my dear friend, that's just perfect. You know, I think we've ticked all the boxes here, and I'm so excited for you and your beautiful man there, and you guys make an incredible team. And I think unless there's anything else you want to share, I think we can leave it there for the moment.
No, I suppose the only thing I would like to say is that this is a space where you can, I'm thinking of nirvana now, but come as you are. And I really, has always been my aim, is to meet people exactly where they're at. So it's not, I love you when you are such and such a thing, or I love you when you change or when you improve. No, it's that I just love people, and I want to just really meet them in their present, current conditions or states of being.
Right on.
So I just want to say that.
Well, you do that very beautifully, my dear friend. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. Yeah, I think we did it. Yeah, and here's to the House of Love, and to you and your partner, and more to come. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Lou, for setting this up. And as I say, it's lovely to be on the other end of the screen.
Sure.
And I look forward to watching this myself.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mama Mia. Yeah, much love, and here's to the House of Love, and more to come, my dear friend. God bless you.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay, we did it. I'll just end this here and catch up with you again very soon. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Lou.
Thanks a million. Cheers.
All right. God bless.
You too. Bye for now.
Bye.